All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all. My name is Dr. Razman, and I will be your MC for today's event. Welcome to the 6th PBS-MAICSA Colloquium on Corporate Governance, an event conducted in collaboration between Putra Business School and the Malaysian Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, or MAICSA. A little bit of background on this colloquium. The colloquium was first held on the 27th December 2020 via an online platform. And since then, we have had the event every year without fail, all through the online platform, including this 6th edition. Before we begin the event properly, let me share with you the objective of this colloquium. This colloquium is the platform where our MBA in CG, MBA in Corporate Governance students will present their research findings taken from their MBA project papers, which primarily focus on the latest corporate governance issues. There will be 4 research findings to be presented today. And for the first time, we will have presentation on Malaysian companies' case studies related to corporate governance issues. The past 5 colloquium focus on the research or secondary data on various issues on particular industry. But today we have 2 students that will present a specific case study on a particular company which had to deal with CG issues. So selected students were invited to present their finding in this colloquium. And normally we choose only those who have a very good grades. We will have 2 esteemed MAICSA members to be our panelists, which I'm going to introduce later. And this panelist member, they will listen to the presentation and share their comment, their insights on the issues. To the presenter, don't worry, this is not a Viva session. It's just a sharing session with everyone. Since all of you already submitted your project paper to the office, have been graded. So this is just a sharing session. So don't worry about not able to answer the question from the panel. And for today's colloquium, we have invited all MAICSA members, PBS staff, students, as well as a member of the public to participate. As you can have seen, many people started to join, and I think we have around 43 already joining this session. We are pleased to have Yang Berbahagia Dato' Akbar Moiduni, MAICSA Deputy President, Group Chairman and Managing Director of MINC Corporate Consultants, to give his keynote speech for this colloquium. But before that, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Azmawani Abdul Rahman, CEO and President of Putra Business School, to give her opening speech. Over to you, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Razman. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, everyone. My special address to Dato' Akbar Moiduni, Deputy President of MAICSA, Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman Abdul Latif, Director of Coursework Program, also come the moderator for today's session, and fellow students, and especially panelists for the colloquium, participants of the 6th PBS-MAICSA Colloquium on Corporate Governance. Welcome to the 6th PBS-MAICSA Colloquium on Corporate Governance. And it gives me a great pleasure to give you a welcoming speech to your colloquium. So I would like to first address on the PBS collaboration with MAICSA. It has gone a long way since October 2011, Dato', as you know. Started with the Putra Business School, which was the then Graduate School of Management, UPM. We are expecting more students undergoing this program to receive their certificate either this year or next year. And we are very excited to have you joining the program. So I clearly understand, as mentioned by Dr. Razman, the importance of good governance. It is actually a cornerstone for many main functions in the institution, such as on risk management and compliance. Through the understanding and following the rules, principles, and setting up policies, institution can regulate their processes better, which is considered fundamental for organization in achieving its vision, mission, and also strategic goals. Therefore, moving forward, we at Putra Business School, we would like to see more students joining this program due to the importance of governance in managing effective organization. Students, ladies, gentlemen, in this important colloquium, our panel speaker from MAICSA, as introduced by Dr. Razman just now, they will share their thought, their comments, very useful, take it positively, which I am very sure that their comments will be very useful. I do wish that you have a productive session for the sixth MAICSA PBS-MAICSA Colloquium today. And last but not least, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for choosing to spend your Saturday morning here rather than going somewhere else, because this is very important and you have made the right choice. And to the organizing team, thank you for the effort that you have put to make this event a reality. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Razman.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Azmawani, for the opening speech. Before I invite Yang Berbahagia Dato' Akbar Moiduni to give his keynote speech, I would like to give a little bit of introduction on him. Dato' Akbar is the Deputy President of MAICSA and was appointed to the position since July 2022. Dato' Akbar is a member of the council, having been re-elected a couple of times in 2018, 20, and 22. And he was the president of MAICSA back in 2007 until 2009, and has served as Deputy President, Vice President, and Honorary Secretary. And he is currently the Chairman of the Conference Organizing Committee, Membership Committee, Constitution Task Force, National Investigation Corp, and also Deputy Chairman of the Technical Compliance and Governance Committee. Dato' Akbar also the Chairman of the MAICSA Bar Council Joint Working Group Committee, and also the Institute Representative on the Corporate Practice Consultative Forum, CPCF Technical Committee, and CPCF Technical Focus Group, and also the Institute Representative on the Company Secretaries Consultative Group. He obtained his ICSA professional qualification from London in 1986 and have been a valid practicing license for the past almost 40 years. He's also the Group Chairman and CEO of MINC Group of Companies since 1986, which provide corporate secretarial and governance consultancy services to more than 1,000 companies. So he has been involved in all facets of secretary assignment, including consultancy, restructuring, due diligence for both multinational and local corporation. And his client comprises of private and public companies, and is also involved in regular speaking engagement at forums on corporate legislation and mediator on corporate dispute. Dato' Akbar also is a member of Malaysian Institute Management and a member of the Disciplinary Board of the Bar Council Malaysia. Now, without much ado, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Dato' Akbar Moiduni, MAICSA Deputy President, to give his keynote speech.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Rahman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berbahagia, Professor Dr. Azmawani Abdul Rahman, CEO and President of Putra Business School, Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman Abdul Latif, Program Coordinator for MBA in Corporate Governance, Dr. Haji Mazlan, Education Committee Member of MAICSA, and Ms. Samantha Tai, Council Member and Education Committee Member of MAICSA. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to everyone. As what President mentioned earlier, You have sacrificed this Saturday morning for this event, and we truly appreciate that. So, on behalf of the Malaysian Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, MAICSA, and Putra Business School, PBS, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you to the 6th PBS-MAICSA Colloquium 2024. I would like to thank PBS for inviting MAICSA to officiate this colloquium and to deliver the keynote address this morning. It is a privilege to address you today at this colloquium on corporate governance, an essential gathering for all who are passionate about the principles and practices that underpin sound governance in organizations. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate the students who have participated in this colloquium. Particularly, we have Aziama binti Othman, we have Arun Kumar Balasubramaniam, we have Shazilin Abdul Khalid, and of course, we have Izal Rizam Abdul Rashid. So your dedication, hard work, and commitment to advancing knowledge in the field of corporate governance are truly commendable. This is a pivotal role, an area of study that impacts organizations, economics, and society on a profound level. Having said that, for your information, MAICSA is the oldest and the only institute that celebrates its 65 years as an affiliate body of the Chartered Governance Institute, the CGI, UK. It is almost as old as our country. This milestone underscores our commitment to achieving world-class governance standards through our international qualifying standards, positioning us as the only chartered professional body in Malaysia. By being a member of MAICSA, governance professionals gain recognition both locally and internationally, enabling them to advance their careers across borders, engage in continuous professional development through current training programs, and uphold a code of conduct and ethics that places them at the forefront of the governance industry. Dear students and guests, corporate governance is a framework through which organizations are directed and controlled. It encompasses the relationship between the company's management, its board, its shareholders, and other stakeholders. Good governance ensures accountability, transparency, and fairness. You, as a future governance professional, play a crucial role in upholding these principles. Through the research papers that you're about to present and obtain feedback from our esteemed panelists, you should and would be aware that a governance professional is much more than an administrative role. You are strategic advisors, compliance experts, and ethical guardians to ensure the organization operates within the legal framework while adhering to the highest standards of integrity and accountability. So, dear students, do you know why corporate governance matters more than ever today as compared to yesterday? Well, in today's rapidly evolving world, we are witnessing unprecedented changes in technology, globalization, and societal expectations. Companies are under greater scrutiny, and the demand for transparency and accountability is at an all-time high. This environment, an environment that you'll be embarking on soon, presents both challenges and opportunities for governance professionals. One of the most exciting developments in this field is the integration of technology into governance practices. Tools such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, data analytics are transforming how we manage compliance, risk, and corporate governance. As chartered secretaries and a chartered governance professional, it is imperative that we stay ahead of these trends, leveraging technology to enhance our roles and drive efficiencies. While technology can aid you in many ways, bear in mind that the core of good governance remains rooted in ethics and integrity. It is your responsibility to champion these values within your organizations in the future. You must lead by example. Dear students and guests, as much as you took dedication to prepare your research paper that you are about to present later, it takes double or triple the dedication once you become a chartered secretary and a chartered governance professional. The journey requires rigorous training, continuous learning, and a commitment to professional development. But don't worry, the CGQP that is mapped to the program that you are taking now is designed to equip you with the necessary skills and knowledge to excel in this field. Besides, in the world of governance, collaboration is key. Engage with your peers, seek mentorship, and participate in professional networks. MAICSA provides these avenues to you on your doorstep. Use it well to stay informed about the latest regulatory changes, best practices, and emerging trends. By doing so, you contribute to the collective growth of the profession. Remember, governance is not just about compliance. It is about creating value, fostering trust, and ensuring sustainable success. This includes promoting sustainability and corporate social responsibility, and integrating environmental, social, and governance, the ESG criteria. I am confident that this colloquium will provide valuable insights and foster meaningful discussions that will enrich the understanding of corporate governance. Together, let us seize this opportunity to learn, share, and collaborate to uphold the highest standards of governance. So I want to thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a productive and inspiring colloquium. With this, I officially declare the 6th PBS-MAICSA Colloquium open. Thank you.
Thank you. Yang berbahagia, Datuk Akbar Moiduni. We are now ready to begin our colloquium. But before that, as usual, can I request all participants to switch on their camera so we can take the group photo, just to have an evidence that we are actually spending our Saturday morning in front of computer and not somewhere else. Okay, I give a few moments for you to switch on. Then I'm going to do the print screen. I think we have three pages for me to print screen. So I'm going to start print screen the first page. Okay. So make yourself handsome or beautiful. I'm going to do it now. For the first page. Okay, mana butang button? Okay. Wait, hold on, need to admit somebody. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Okay. And to copy, paste to the file. Okay. Now I'm moving to the second page. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. You probably won't know whether you're in the first page or second page. So just keep on smiling then. Then I'm going to the third page. Okay, smile. All right. Full screen. Okay, done. Right. Okay, done with the photo shoot.
Dr. Rasman, I enjoy hearing your commentary while you are taking the screenshots. It naturally allows us to smile.
This is what I'm looking for every year, to be the moderator. Because every time I'm the speaker or the panel member, but actually I'd like to be the moderator most because I can control the whole event. Okay, thank you everybody. Okay, now we can start our colloquium. Just like the previous edition of this colloquium, we are honored to have two panelists from MAICSA, and allow me to introduce them first. Our first MAICSA panel is Datuk Dr. Haji Mazlan bin Haji Ahmad. Dr. Mazlan is a distinguished leader in the global financial sector, known for his visionary leadership and extensive expertise. As the founder of Mashi Group of companies operating internationally, he holds key positions in various sectors, including construction, properties, finance, and management advisory. And he also an operation review panel at Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC. With over 20 years of banking experience and leadership roles at the Central Bank of Malaysia, Dr. Mazlan excels in strategic planning, policy formulation, and financial intelligence. Dr. Mazlan holds a doctorate in business admin, MBA, Bachelor in Accounting, and recognized as a fellow SCIS by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. And he is an advocate for Islamic finance, compliance, and innovation, leveraging technologies like blockchain and AI. Dr. Mazlan drives transformative change in the industry. He is committed to advancing Islamic financial system and fostering integrity-driven entrepreneurship. He spearheaded the initiative to establish Halalan Toyiban ecosystem and expand Islamic social financial system globally, offering advisory services in fundraising, finance, and anti-corruption measures. He emphasizes on transparency and accountability. His advocacy extends to sustainable development goals and policy reform in Islamic social finance, and his pioneering effort in revitalizing the sector through blockchain technology have earned acclaim. With ambition to establish the first Wakaf bank in Malaysia, his strategic foresight and dedication drive positive change in the financial landscape. So as you can see, we have very distinguished panel member here, and we have again and again, which I really appreciate, our second panel member, Ms. Samantha Tai Chan, the CEO of Boardroom Malaysia. And I have been privileged enough to attend many of a session in the conference and seminar. And I'm sure we are going to benefit from her as well for this session. And she also managing director for Asia Corporate Secretarial Boardroom Group. Ms. Samantha is a council member and chartered governance professional for MAICSA and a member of his Thought Leadership Committee, Education Committee, Deputy Chair of Training Committee, and Chairperson of the Technical Compliance and Governance Committee, focusing to driving corporate governance initiative. She has over 30 years of extensive experience in corporate governance and corporate secretary work and provides advisory services including due diligence reviews for corporate restructuring, IPO processes and rollouts, virtual meeting management, governance-related advisory, including board assessment to clients of PLCs, liquidation, and preparation of circulars for submission to Bursa Malaysia. Ms. Samantha is a strong advocate for corporate governance and boasts a robust presence within the capital market in Malaysia. She's a much sought-after trainer for the in-house trainings and speakers for seminars, webinars organized by professional bodies, organizations, and regulators. Ms. Samantha has received the Asia Pacific Entrepreneurship Award 2019 for the outstanding category for professional and business service industry, and is a board member of the Malaysian Investor Relations Association, MIRA, and director of the Malaysian Alliance of Corporate Directors, MECD. Okay, so welcome both panelists to the session. And before we start, let me brief everybody on the format of the presentation. We will have 4 presenters today. Each presenter will present his or her research findings for maximum 20 minutes without interruption, meaning no intervention from anyone. And then we will have 15 minutes of the sharing session by the panelists with the presenters. We don't want this to be dragged on, so time limit will be strictly enforced. I will give an indication when there are 5 minutes left for presentation, and then another indication, 2 minutes left for session to end. I don't have a bell or a ring or something with me.
Just leave
I
it.
think
Okay.
I will just shout out lah, dah cukup masa, something like that to the presenter. And if the audience wanted to ask question or to share your thought, to contribute to the discussion, you are welcome to do that. But for the sake of the smooth running of this session, I would appreciate it if you can type it in the chat box. Okay, just write. If you want to ask any particular presenter, just write their name, the name of presenter, and put your question or your sharing your insights in the chat box. And the presenter will be able to communicate to you after their session end. So for example, today we have first presenter by Azima, and so maybe when she presented and have discussion with the panelists, and when the second presenter started his presentation, so you can ask Azima in the chat box, and she will be able to interact with you in the chat box. Okay, so we give the privilege to the panels to ask directly using the microphone, but for the rest of you, you are welcome to write anything in the chat box to communicate with the presenters. Okay, so let's begin with the first presentation. I will introduce the first presenter first, Miss Azima binti Osman. A little bit of biography on her. Miss Azima, she has bachelor degree in legal studies, majoring in criminal law from Cardiff University, UK. And at the moment, she's the general counsel and company secretary for MK Group. So she has extensive experience in legal affairs and corporate secretarial within various sectors, including GLCs, public listed companies, and private entities. So without much further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Azima to start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman. All right. Assalamualaikum and warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Azmawani Abdul Rahman, Yang berbahagia Datuk Akbar Munani, Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Hadi Mazlan Najib Hamid, Miss Samantha Tai Chan, and my esteemed supervisor, of course, Yang bersaudara Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman Abdul Latif, fellow colleagues, and of course, distinguished guests. Well, before I start my presentation today, let me click on my slide presentation. As you can see here, right? Okay. So first and foremost, I would like to thank you for giving me the honor to present my case study on the remarkable sustainability case of nano-verified cinnabar. Okay, let's dive in. Who is actually nano-verified cinnabar, or in the short term, we call it NVSB. So at the first glance, we understand that Nano Verified Sinar Berhad, NVSB, is actually an innovate SME GLC striving under the auspices of Nano Malaysia Berhad or under the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. So their story is one resilient innovation and relentless commitment to sustainability. So today, we will uncover their journey, delve into the challenges that they have faced, celebrate their achievement, and understand what makes Nano Verified Sinar Berhad a shining example in the world of sustainable business practices. All right, without further ado, let me bring you to the next slides, where to cut it short, the executive summary of Nano Verified, as explained previously, it is a SME GLC incorporated under the Nano Malaysia Berhad that oversees nanotechnology development and commercialization in Malaysia throughout the Nano Verified program. And for your information, NVSB is a voluntary program that includes 3 certification scheme, which is first, the Nano Verified scheme, second, Nano Trust scheme, and third, Graphene Verified scheme. This program is basically a voluntary scheme that allow all the companies in Malaysia to basically be certified their product under the nanotechnology findings. So what's the main critical part of Nano Verified? Well, when you are operating under the auspice of GLCs, you are heavily relies on grant. Therefore, this is allowing the hurdle of having financial constraint, where NVSB is to advise to seek the diverse funding sources, including grants, partnership, to help their financial sustainability and competitiveness in the world of nanotechnology certification. So this company is well positioned to tackle the internal and external challenges with strategic recommendation, which is aimed to bolstering financial standing, operational efficiency, and profitability. This measure align course with their investment holding, NMB, and of course, the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation goals to ensuring the MVSB continued leadership in nanotechnology investment in Malaysia particularly. So what is nanotechnology? Everyone, you will be surprised. Nanotechnology is a science in science, engineering, and technology conducted at a very nanoscale, which is about 1-200 nanometers. So imagine living in the world of nanotechnology. You will embrace lots of products around you that could contain nanotechnology materials. So move on. Okay, a little bit background. It was incorporated in 11 August 2015. NVSB is a wholly owned subsidiary of Nano Malaysia Berhad, an agency under the MOSTI, and mandated to monitor, facilitate nanotechnology development and commercialization in Malaysia. NVSB has been delegated by NMB, of course, to fully operate Malaysia, the first and only nano certification program owned by them, known as the Nano Verified program. Like I say, with a 3 scheme, which is volunteer, Nano Verified scheme, Nano Trust, and of course, Graphene Verified. All right, this is the corporate structure of Nano Malaysia. As you can see, Nano Malaysia is actually an agency under MOSTI, which is holding companies to these specific subsidiaries. We have here Nano Verified on your on your right hand, that provide consultation and a verification arm, which conclude providing technology and business landscaping consultancy, due diligence, product verification, and of course, educating consumer awareness on genuine nanotechnology products, right? So why we are talking about Nanofy program? As you can see, Nanofy program is very critical in Malaysia. As you can see, when you're wearing makeups, how do you ensure that the endorsement appear on your TV says that the product is contain nanotechnology material? So this is where Nano Verified Sinar Berhad plays a vital role to ensure that certification has been done due diligently to encourage prudence to the consumers, especially us as Malaysian, to understand, of course, the genuine products in the market, where they can help to differentiate their product from others, to control false claim of nanotechnology product in the market, to protect customer right to have a genuine nanotechnology product. Well, of course, we understand that their function as a program manager is also to increase the public trust in the new technology. You are talking about nanotechnology. Of course, you need to gain a public trust to ensure that everyone enjoy the benefits, and also to promote the increase of number of technology products in Malaysian market specifically. So we're also talking about the facilities of trade. While we promote local high technology product in market, we also create demand for genuine nanotechnology products in the market, create demand for science, technology, innovation, development, and of course, to increase sales and drive economic growth. And last but not least, you are looking into the certification that present the quality of nanomaterial-based product, verification tools to assist trade investment to identify whether fake or genuine product. While you're looking into the three logos there, you can see that there's a nano trust, nano-verified, and graphene verified. These are the most symbolic verification under NVSB. All right, we move further. So the case happened to be that when nano-verified Sdn Bhd operate as a small SME GLCs, there is a pivotal juncture where at the board meeting, the board have to decide whether what we should do in order to stay sustained, become a going concern company. While you are heavily relies on government grant, public fund, you have to understand that the company is a very small scale and needs to operate and still sustain. Therefore, Encik Yusof Hussein is the board audit risk committee has highlighted the needs of proactively address the potential challenges, particularly the conclusion of the 11 Malaysia Plan approach. Therefore, Encik Johan Iskandar Hassan, the managing director of Nano Verified, the only man in Nano Verified, has to think a way to find a solution. How the necessity is that he has to make sure in terms of finance, marketing, operational, and of course, management and legals are operating with the requirement law, not looking into the Companies Act. He also have to understand when you are operating under a SME GLC, there is a rule governing to NVSB that they have to comply. Therefore, this become the most momentum pivotal juncture for an NVSB Survivor series. Well, looking into the context industry, nanotechnology has very fast-paced evolving from day to day, month to month, and of course, as we can see, a lots of aspect in internationally. In the global trends, we can see like the United States of America, South Korea, and Germany have fervently embraced nanotechnology research and business endeavor since 2000. While they are looking specifically into not only creating awareness to the public, they are looking into penetrating the market on how to associate nanotechnology with the life of society. Well, we are looking into Malaysia industry as well. Significantly, nanotechnology is actually required under the science, technology, and innovation agenda, where the government itself goes beyond from 2020 to ensure that nanotechnology still relevant and plays a vital role in every days of Malaysians. Therefore, the biggest aspect in the industry over here is to allow the public understand what is nanotechnology in aspects. Well, looking into the market, looking into the competition, particularly, NVSP is Malaysia's first and only nano certification program. That's why the acknowledgement of nano verified is quite limited, because people will understand that there are other accreditation bodies, certification bodies that basically do not in the line of nanotechnology. So NVSP would say not to be monopolized, but the only nano certification program. Therefore, the only entities or in other counterparties where we can see Taiwan Nanotechnology Industry Association are a bit aligned with the operation of NVSB. But in 2021, in the context of NVSB, they have actually substantially increased by the number of certification. When you are talking about self-voluntary certification, among the certification program, only 13.2% of 1,056 product has been received certification under Nano-Verified program. While we are looking at the aspect of the market, NVSB actually operate in the more modest scales with a limited resources compared to larger accreditation certificate bodies, which allows the confrontation challenges in its business intelligence. Well, when you're talking about business intelligence, you can put a simple layman where, for example, like credit reporting agency, they have, for example, the secrets by Bank Negara, you have reporting in terms of from experience and CTOS secrets. But as a nanotechnology verification, they only have nano-verified Sandra Berhad in this sector. So withstanding with all these obstacles, NVSB must maintain its primary focus, which is to ensure that nano-verified program to create public awareness, and of course the commitment to advancing nanotechnology certification and commercialization in Malaysia. So what we are looking here is in terms of the client profile. There's a lot of clients actually looking for certification under the Nano-Verified program, such as SME, such as like example here, we have Hijrah Nature Herbs, highlighting their crucial roles in this sector. This SME, however, facing significant challenges in renewing their certification, lastly because of their financial limitation. When you apply for Nano-Verified application to be certified, you have to remember that you have to renew on yearly basis. Therefore, your budgeting in terms of renewing license should be included into your OPEX, your operational expenditure. This is very important. So unlike like large companies with ample of resources, SMEs as a clients to Nano-Verified program struggle to meet their financial requirement for a certification renewal. Like mentioned just now, this has to be included into their OPEX. So this situation needs for specifically support strategy to help SME overcome financial hurdle while maintaining their compliance with certification standard, ensuring their continued participation in the Nano-Verified program. So what is nanotechnology then and today? Well, Malaysia nanotechnology has been very well versed by starting from National Innovation Council meeting on the 29th October 2009. Nanotechnology was identified for one of the new growth engines for the new economic model, NEM. Therefore, on 14 February 2011, the National Innovation Council, NIC, convened and agreed that nanotechnology commercialization industry was a needed and corresponding activities must be aligned with Agency Innovation Malaysia initiative. So that is where the investment holding, NMB, Nano Malaysia Berhad, was incorporated on 2011 as a company limited by guarantee, CLBG, under, of course, the MOSI, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, to help as a business entities entrusted with nanotechnology commercialization activities. So these are the pillars that allow Nano-Verified to move as a SME GLC. By looking into the context of research and development, R&D has basically been a priority areas because Malaysia itself have not defined the standardization of national priorities area in R&D to ensure that nanotechnology has all the welfare facilities to allow that all Malaysians enjoy its benefits. So in terms of funding itself, the opportunities for dedicated funding in nanotechnology R&D has been very limited, with a total funding of 78.3 million from the year spanning 2011 to 2020. So this is what we look into the Malaysian products that categorize for Nano-Verified versus the potential. Eventually, Nano-Verified program covers agriculture, automotive, coating, cosmetic, electric and electrical environment, and of course, there's the food, healthcare, home appliance, and others associated as well. The expensive part of being invest in nano verified program is that we are not looking from industry from year to year. We have to understand the essential needs to have nano verified program to hinder from fake products and to allow economic boosters. Therefore, it's expand from primarily driven by rapidly growing advancements. As you can see that currently cosmetic, healthcare, and sport has contributed into the nano-verified program. And we can see here the greater market shares, where the players are globally to be expected to invest significantly in R&D activities. Why you require R&D? Because R&D helps to enhance nanotechnology verification and also expand the vast nanotechnology products in the market itself. By looking into SME to help to contribute the society to the country, you are looking into specialized skill to venture into this space. You are not looking just SME as a small entities, you are actually helping them to bolster, to help sustain in nanotechnology phase and also allow them to understand that this nanotechnology can help them in expanding their businesses. There's a lack of skilled professional in this field because nanotechnology specialization is not well known in Malaysia. So it's a bit, not to say hurdle, it's a bit hindrance. So there will be a movement from time to time accordingly. Well, looking into the financial information of Nano Verified basically sustained with the help of the investment holding and of course with the other subsidiaries under Nano Malaysia Berhad, Nano Commercial Berhad. Well, they do not apply for loan, they do not have loan banking, and they are relying from the interco arrangement between Nano Malaysia Berhad to them. So as you're looking here, we have the current ratio, how much is the financial information that's cover their AR, account receivable, account payable, and of course you're looking about the P&L, the profit and loss of the company itself. By having a very, I would say, sustained based on the fund receiving from Nano Malaysia Berhad, they have to incur operationals and also capex that they have to put consideration in a nano verified program that will be from month to month, and they also have to brainstorm in order to ensure that they can survive if there's no run coming from MOSTI in this context. Therefore, in terms of managing their financial, nano-verified programs has to be maintained at a standard where they understand that the going concern as a companies also plays a vital role to be relevant and sustained. What are the challenges under the NNP, which is the National Nanotechnology Policy? Well, of course, there's a lack of awareness on the standard, safety, and regulations specifically for nanotechnology. And of course, we have another challenges like the lack of robustness for nanotechnology certification, because you need to leveraging on the advantage of certification for the country revenue generation. Therefore, nano-verified program is so vital of NVSB. Looking into the whole context of deliberation earlier, as you can see, in order for NVSB to become the leading technology solution provider in the nanotechnology industry, they have to look into the exclusive nano-verified program, which allow the accreditation, validates of various nanotechnology products in terms of processes, services, and ensuring the compliance with the industry standard. So nano-verified is the only scale of SME GLC. In this situation, NVSB faced criticism for its monopolistic position in the accreditation process, raising the concern, how do we possibly avoid the absence of competition? Stakeholder worry as well that this will delay the accreditation and lead to favoritism towards certain companies or products, right? While looking into the context of NVSB, the board have deliberately and understand that there are strengths, which is in terms of positive cash flow for investment. the support by the government for funding, the niche technology development, superior product quality, strong brand loyalty. While looking into the weaknesses, it is a centralized decision making, slow market acceptance, because you have to understand the nanotechnology processes, not just focus on the product of cosmetic. You also have other part of the sectors that covers as well. And of course, manpower shortage, the lack of preventive measure, and unlimited access to expertise. By looking into the opportunities, of course, you are looking into e-market and e-commerce potential, continued government support, political stabilities, fostering growth, and industry monopoly in nanotechnology, strong stakeholder engagement. And last, we are looking into the threats. It is a global regulatory uncertainty because you are competing not only locally in Malaysia, you have to understand and aspect industry overview in nanotechnology. So the limited media and advertising presence is also one of the threats, and emerging of competing technologies to making sure that your products still relevant and sustained. On a cost, legals and regulatory challenges. When you're looking into nano certification programs, you are looking into a lots of aspect of laws and legislative. And of course, you have intellectual property risk where there will be a exploitation of trademarks where they are claimed they are being certified under nano verified program.
For
Well,
4 minutes left.
all right. In terms of the tools analysis, let me summarize. We are looking into maximize collaboration, SO, and of course, leveraging strange and cross-disciplinary. And we are looking into cost optimization, addressing high research, optimize processes, and enhance financial sustainability. And of course, we are looking into diversification to look into the R&D strengths to explore new application in the market, mitigate threats, and emerging from competing technologies. And last, we are looking into regulatory compliance. Well, this to ensure that the legal and ethical operation within the industry is being complied. So from this, we summarize that these are the internal factors, the financial management, operational, marketing, and legal. Because financially, as you can see, SME, GLC, as NVSB reliance on government funding exposes, and there are uncertainties in budget. And looking to management, they are facing challenges and opportunities in the dynamic markets and the landscape of business strategy intricacies in nanotechnology as well. Operational, they are being the sole administrator of nano verified program, and marketing, while producting their product as a front frontier, they have to understand that diversification serves to mitigate risk, and of course, legal being the foremost challenges, and NVSB conference with a lots of legislative enforcement powers. Therefore, this covers the IFA. While looking to the internal factors, there are three: the application of e-marketing and e-commerce, and of course, the market growth rate, industry profitability, and last, the political stability of the country to move the growth. So these are among the key performance indicators for Nano Verified program. They have to understand what they have to achieve from year to year. And looking into the strategy covering the internal factor and external factor and evaluating from the tools, the threat, opportunity, weakness, and strength. This is how Nano Verified should move forward. They have to be an accredited body. This covers the short term. My recommendation is that Nano Verify should diversify their revenue by offering fee-based, and of course, looking into cost containment, understand that prudent cost management by the management to look into certain aspect of operational, and of course, the diversity in boardroom to allow background of finance, accounts, and also nanotechnology to be part of the board composition. So on recommendation part 2, you're looking into, of course, the board composition, appoint director with a strong accounting background to bolster finance expertise, implementation of blockchains to allow the verification being verified and to stop the exploitation of trademarks. And of course, they have to think about being the accredited certification bodies. right? So in the conclusion of this case, NRSB faced a critical juncture. To make sure they are being the nanotechnology industry, they must balance its credibility from the nano-verified program, and they have to understand about the other businesses that covers the business intelligence services where are not known to the public. And to ensure in future, NFSB has to ensure that the company manage with a very sustainable income, to ensure that they understand the losses, and they have to prepare for the OPEX and CAPEX just in case if the government has stopped funding the companies. Well, basically it's cover the part of nano-verified technology. But before I stop my presentation today, I would like to say congratulations to NVSB, because recently on 20th March 2024, nano-verified has become the world's first ISO IEC 17065 accredited certification body for nano product certification. This achievement underscores NVSB commitment to excellence and enhance our credibility and quality in the field of nanotechnology. So basically, that's the conclusion and the update story of the case of nano-verified silicon carbide from me. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Azima. Now I'd like to invite any of the panel members to start the session. Miss Samantha or Datuk Nazlan?
Yeah, Dato' Maslan, do you want to start first? All right. Yes. All right. Maybe let me start first. Miss Azima. So I think this is really, really very, very comprehensive, very detailed in terms of the
Okay.
research done.
Sorry, I just into my car. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Hi, Dato' Maslan. Is it convenient for you? You mentioned you're in the car. Do you want to start first? Or do you want me to start first? Dato' Maslan? I think he's probably a little bit difficulty. Sorry about that, because normally in the colloquium, he will start first and then I will be the second
Okay.
person. Dato' Maslan, can you hear us?
Yes. I'm so sorry because I'm inside the car, so there is something wrong with my Wi-Fi. Now it's okay already.
Would you like to take
Yeah,
the
can
first?
I can addition save family because in the reality, if you want to take and create a unicorn company, not only to serve Malaysia market, but also to serve the entire world, we need to have several elements. The first element that we must consider is about what? The first one is all about globalization. So NVSB cannot confine the market is only for Malaysia, but he need to compete, if not the global market, at least for this region. So therefore, whether the OPEX, CAPEX, technology, what more in terms of talent must be dedicated to serve for this entire market. That is about globalization. The second thing, yes, we are talking about nano. I'm sure not even 5% of the audience really understand what is nano all about. Therefore, this is where we need to keep abreast with the latest technology in terms of digitalization, because using digitalization, we can easily communicate, put across the message to the target audience. So digitalization is not about digital market, but it's more about how to present ourselves personally to the target audience. So digitalization is the key. The third is that today we are not going to serve, but we are smart partner. Therefore, we must create a platform that can create opportunity for everybody to become entrepreneur. It not only NVSB become an entrepreneur, there is service provider, but the entire market that connect with us as a community driven, all of them will get the benefit of enterprising. Therefore, we can create passive income, active income. So in a nutshell, that is about what we should consider, but how we can achieve this, nothing but the first is all about smart partnership. Therefore, when you talk about source of power, NVSB must understand what is his source of power. If the concept is only voluntary basis, I don't see it will go anywhere. But it must be source of power is mandatory. All agency, all industry must mandatory comply with nano certified program, so on and so forth. That is where you will create automatically demand and supply chain factors, element in your ecosystem. So smart partnership means you must work with federal, state governments, private sector, public sector, academia, and of course, community, public at large, business community. Then you can really create a high impact smart partnership program for this journey. Secondly, you mentioned about issue on funding, financing. So as a former officer of Bank Negara Malaysia, I can see actually funding is no issue at all, provided you smart partner with the financial institution. One of it is Bank Negara. I was invited to share some thought 2 weeks ago in one of the conference in Kuala Lumpur. So we invite Deputy Governor of Bank Negara, Datuk Jessica Chew. So Datuk Jessica mentioned for MSME, Bank Negara funded more than 1 billion. So this is where I believe we can tap on funding resources that are available by Bank Negara. But for your information, 82 funds created by Bank Negara to industry. Take it, use it effectively. But at the same time, we have been talking about funding two types, both commercial and also social. The social aspect actually is very, very relevant today, about wakaf funding. So you just mentioned, okay, this is for wakaf funding to create nano ecosystem. You can easily attract. I believe if we can launch by July, by first half of next year, we can easily target 100 million. That is my belief, provided we know really our business well. So lastly, about captive. Yes, about the talent, it seems that very crucial in this case, but I believe if we really smart partner with the academia, I believe all the university, they can create a special faculty to look into nanotechnology. Then it become one of the subject mandatory for all the students taking up the technology courses. They must have one element nanotechnology in their syllabus. So with this, I believe we can do changes for the nano ecosystem. So overall, I must say, Lina, your presentation is superb. I would like to see more of the role of the governance, because if we are talking about to create a successful business, no governance, whatever technology we have, whatever fund we have, everything will tumble easily. So if I can speak on behalf of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, because I was just reappointed for another 3 years, as an advisor for MACC, we are very concerned about the tata kelola governance, ethics, integrity, how the industry behave and react when our Prime Minister Anwar just launched the Tata Kelola, Tata Governance 7 May recently. So thank you very much. I would like to see more inputs from the audience, and also I would love to share more insight with all the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Haji Mazlan. That is very insightful, informatics. And of course, I take it as a very good support in conjunction of NVSP. And I would say that I concurred to the statement earlier. I definitely agree to the statement. And I look forward eventually to see nanotechnology schools, education, and of course, the smart partnership that you emphasized earlier. Thank you, Dr. Haji Mazlan.
Miss Samantha?
All right. So thanks, Dr. Maslan. I think it's very, so this is something that is very new to me, nanotechnology, right? But as I mentioned earlier, Azima, the papers is really comprehensive. So for me, it's very good, very easy to understand, right? And then the conclusion also that you have mentioned in terms of corporate governance, how do you use corporate governance to try and improve in terms of one of it is, for example, you talk about board composition, right? Putting somebody with very, very strong financial literacy, because they really, I know there's a lot of benefits from nanotechnology. However, there is also a lot of risk, and there's therefore risk management is required. So by putting a board composition with external expertise and one who are very strong in financial or analyzing in terms of the feasibility is really, really very important, because I know that there are many boards where they have many, many good ideas, but unfortunately, because of poor risk management, it didn't take off. So in fact, I also know some nanotechnology companies where they have failed and they have to be delisted subsequently in Singapore as well. So risk management is also very important. So board composition, putting the right people, right mix of people, not just from nanotechnology background, people with finance background, people with, I think from what Dato' Maslan has mentioned, people with the cloud, the connection with the respective stakeholder, try to get the grant, because it's really, really very good, and it can benefit the SME if there is a grant that is available, right? Then they can actually reach out more to the market. And you also mentioned about diversifying revenue stream. So this is also good in terms of mitigating the risk. But I think what would not very clear to me, or maybe I may have missed out some slide, is trying to understand what is the core risk factor. Because by identifying the core risk factor, then the board will be able to really deliberate more in detail and try to put mitigating action in place. So, sorry, when I Google, right, in terms of nano, there is a lot of weaknesses. So you have highlighted a lot of benefits and all that. So to me, it's very good learning point. But when I Google, there is also a lot of negative impact. So we talk about positive impact to health in terms of improving production, enhancing energy, reducing the ESG impact, right? But surprising, when I Google, there's a lot of negative impact. So I think it's very important for any board not just to focus on the positive, but a lot more care in terms of the negative, the risk impact of it, as I mentioned, so that you can then address the risk. And, I think Dato' Maslan has pointed out one in terms of partnerships. So that is really, really very important, because it's new, right? And therefore you need to get a lot of buy-in from the stakeholders. And only then will you be able to expand, not just domestically, regionally, and then globally, right? So I hope my input has helped, but this nano, like I say, is really new to me, but I'm just looking from the corporate governance angle. How can we actually help a business to improve, right? Thanks, Asima.
Thank you very much, Ms. Samantha. That is very insightful. And of course, I take a few critical elements of the point highlighted earlier, especially in the risk management. Yes, the Board Audit Risk Committee in Nano Verify itself have to look in depth, not just the positive aspect in nanotechnology. You also have to delve into the negativity and how you overcome those hurdles in between. I take the emphasis as well in a smart partnership where Datuk Dr. Haji Mazlan and yourself, Ms. Mentor, that you have to play a vital role where smart partnership comes into it. So about the whole comments and view, I concur and thank you very much for your inputs, comments, and ideas. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Azima. Okay. Now we're going to proceed with the second presenter. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, anyone from the audience, if you like to ask Ms. Azima more on her presentation, feel free to do so by typing in the chat box, and she will be able to address or correspond or communicate with you directly in the chat box. So now I would like to invite the second presenter, Mr. Arun Kumar Balasubramaniam. He graduated with an LLB honors in 2022, and upon his graduation, he further advanced his study by doing MBA in corporate governance in Putra Business School. And he's really passionate to expand his knowledge and skills. He's thinking of pursuing his PhD soon, and he's also wanted to embark his career as a practicing company secretary after that. So, without much further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Arun to start his presentation. You may share your screen now.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Prof. Rasman, on the introduction. Am I audible? Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
crystal
you
All
clear.
right,
clearly,
all right.
and we can even see your very nice office shirt.
Thank you so much on that. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much, Prof. Rasman, again. Very good morning to everyone. So allow me to reintroduce myself. So my name is Arun Kumar. So I will be presenting on a research title which I have studied recently. Research title is Relationship between ESG Disclosure, ESG Controversy, Board Characteristic, and Firm Performance. Without further ado, let's begin. Let's start off with a background of this particular research title itself. So as we all know that corporate governance has consistently been very essential and a paramount topic to both public and private industry globally. What I meant by private and public industry, I mean within the corporate world itself. Such examples as we can see, like the historical scandals like Enron, 1MDB, WorldCom, and several other prominent scandals. Because of all these examples today, the corporate governance, the topic has risen and now it's become the top of public discourse recently until today itself. All thanks to the Asian financial crisis since the year 1997, uh, where corporate governance has been introduced as a whole new meaning, all right? Because of this corporate failure, regulators in Malaysia have been working and been striving to enhance corporate governance, which is why just to take note that corporate governance, when we're talking about corporate governance, we are referring to MCCG, Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance. That's one of the important policy, I believe, that aims guide and assist not just public listed companies in Malaysia, but also for SMEs in enhancing a sound governance, a good governance within their organization itself. All right. By implementing a good governance, it enables to avoid from agency conflicts. By agency conflicts, I mean involving frauds, account frauds, controversies, civil or criminal liabilities within the organizations itself. And it was stated that firms that have large disclosures concerning ESG will generate better operational results. So now recently there are many studies about ESG, whereby with better ESG you will have a better financial results. So we are going to look into that later on. This ESG disclosure is an instrument utilized and adopted in order to ensure firms are growing in support of their CSR for the purpose of disclosing environmental and also social initiative strategies. But not also to forget, is also because of governance, the G aspect as well. Now, looking at the problem statement, all right, what is actually the problem of this research? Okay, basically, many scholars had primarily concentrated upon the relationship between the disclosure of ESG with numerous variables like business performance or firm profitability. With that, the intention of this study is to explore more comprehensively and specific, as it will be challenging to figure out the seriousness of the firm is with regard to disclosure if one is unfamiliar and have lack of insight pertaining to the board characteristic. Now, in this research, board characteristic will be playing as a moderating factor for two direct relationships. But however, it is important to take note that board characteristic moderating not been studied by many researchers until now, but except for a few. Okay, there are few researchers that have studied board characteristic as a moderating factors. I've cited here Aliport 2019, Munch Muda 2023. But the problem is when they are studying about the moderating board characteristics, they're just focusing on two components under the board characteristics. Usually the famous is board gender diversity or board independence or CO duality, if I'm not mistaken. But however, this research study aims to study all the major six components under the board characteristic and to see whether each of these components will be able to uh, play as a moderating factor for two direct relationships in this study. So that is one of the problems that we have found here. And also not to forget, when we're talking about ESG controversy, all right, ESG controversy is now researchers are starting to study about it right now, which also we are taking this as a stepping stone to analyze about board characteristic moderating how all six components able to moderate ESG controversy. With that, which that leads us to the research question itself. So I've developed four research questions. The first two are very direct, a direct relationship. How ESG disclosure affect the firm performance? How ESG controversy affect the firm performance? Question three and research question 3 and 4. How board characteristic moderates the relationship between ESG disclosure and firm performance? How board characteristic moderates the relationship between ESG controversy and firm performance? Now let's look at the literature review. Now in this study, firm performance will be acting as the dependent variable. All right. Under the firm performance, we will be using ROA. ROAs were widely spread. It's a widely spread adoption and it's a very popular among researchers. So hence we are going to use ROA in this study, and not to forget we're going to also use net profit margin. So we're going to use ROA and net profit margin under the firm performance to study this research title. Now, however, in this study, there are two independent variables which we'll be looking at. The first one is ESG disclosure, and the second one is ESG controversy. Moving forward to the moderating variables, the board characteristic. So these are the six major components under the board characteristic which we'll be looking at. Board gender diversity, board independence, CO duality, board tenure, board size, and last but not least, board meeting frequency. So however, these are the starting hypothesis development that I have created. Now looking at the theoretical framework. Now this is the theoretical framework diagram which I have created. As you can see here, board characteristic is moderating the two direct relationship here, ESG disclosure and firm performance, ESG controversy and firm performance, which we'll be studying on this. However, it is important to highlight that in this study, there are two main control variables, that is firm size and leverage. We will be using this throughout this study as well. Right. As for the research methodology, all right, as you can see here, there are six variables, all these six variables. However, what I could say is that we have used two major sources to collect data, and one of it is Refinitiv Aecon online database and annual report. All the variables we've used Refinitiv Aecon to collect the values for each of the variables, but except for board characteristic. Board characteristic, we had to refer to each and every annual reports of the firm has provided in the website to collect all the information for all 6 components. Now, coming to the result and discussion, all right. I have collected data for organizations from the year of 2020 to 2022. All right. So overall, there are total of 501 observations that has been collected after the cleaning and removal of companies due to missing informations. All right. So first we are going to look into the descriptive statistics of variables. So this is the analysis that I've run using an Excel toolpack, and based on the observation, we can say that ESG disclosures mean value represents 28.22. The minimum value as stated is 0 and the maximum value is 90.71 were reported on the ESG score. It can be considered poor, but overall you can say is average good. But on the statistics, the mean percentage of independent directors who serve on board in this current research investigation is somewhat more than 50%. And this is considered to be good and acceptable as per the MCCG 2021 requirements. Referring to the board gender diversity, the mean value for the female representation had shown 21.74, which is generally lower than the requirement that had been laid under the MCCG 2021, whereby the MCCG 2021 has stated that every company should has minimum of 30% of women acting as the board of directors in the board itself. In regards to the CEO duality, the mean value for the CEO duality is 0.12. During the collection of data for the CEO duality, the values 0 and 1 will only be given for each company. So however, when we are collecting the data, we will use 0 and 1. 0 represents that the company is not doing dual position, is not doing this dual position, but 1 means there is this particular person playing 2 roles, right? Overall, the average mean value of 0.12 seems acceptable, which demonstrates that most companies are practicing a good governance. But however, during the collection data, I've noticed there are some companies that are acting as chairman and also the CEO uh, for some companies under the publish the companies under the for good index. As for board tenure, statistics has shown that the mean value is 6.69%, which shows the overall many companies are adhering to the latest requirement under MCCG 2021, which states that independent directors should not exceed 9 years. But some companies still did not comply with the MCCG 2021 because there are still independent directors that are practicing for more than 10 years or more than 12 years. Board meeting frequency, the average mean value is 5.95 with a minimum of value of 3 and maximum value of 24. This states that most companies are adhering to the policies set up under Bursa Malaysia and complying to the company's board charter. The average mean value for firm size is 7.1933 with the minimum value of 4.07 and maximum value of 20.29, which shows that there is an outlier of 20.2902 was discovered, in which we'll be using a method later on in order to remove those outlier. All right, so this is the normality test results. All right, so as we can see here, the skewness data falls from the range of negative 3.2501 to positive 7.91. As for with regards to the kurtosis, the value for the variables lies between 1.37295 to 94.03, except for ROA, net profit margin, firm size, and leverage due to the presence of outlier. All right, and due to the presence of outlier, we have used a method called Winsorization. Okay, Winsorization was applied in this research study, and this technique was applied to mainly the board independence, board meeting frequency, leverage, ROA, NPM data, because during the running analysis, it shows that the statistic has shown an enormous range, a very huge range, and which leads the range of kurtosis and skewness to be far away. All right. So there is a rules under here whereby the variables under the skewness does fall within the range of negative 10 to positive 10, while the variables under kurtosis shows that ROA, NPM, firm size, and leverage did not fall within that range due to the presence of outlier. So after running the normality test and observing it, then we will move forward to the correlation analysis. correlation analysis, there is a rule here whereby if a variable is greater than 0.70, hence it's considered as high correlation analysis. But sadly, in this case, ESG controversy had to be let go, had to be removed from this research study due to the fact that it shows a 0.7401, which is greater than 0.70, which shows that it shares the same characteristic with the ESG score, hence causing high multicollinear or high correlation with each other. Last but not least, it's the final procedure, that is the regression analysis. So we are looking at the regression analysis at ANOVA, and we have used also multiple regression analysis. All right. So, however, after all this analysis we have run using all the company's observations that we have collected, however, it's sadly also to take note that net profit margin had to be removed from this study as well, because the p value for all variables showed a higher value, that means more than 0.05, which is no point actually, to be honest, which results in making all the hypotheses rejected. So hence we had to take out the net profit margin. Okay, and based on the analysis, we can conclude that both gender diversity multiplied by ESG score and CO duality multiplied by ESG score constitute significant to act as the moderating factor for the relationship between ESG disclosure and firm performance, having p value below 0.05. So overall, we have concluded that among the 6 components of the Borg characteristic, 2 components were shown to be significant, causing hypothesis 2 to be partially significant. So after running all those tests, all those procedures of the finding analysis, we have come up to a conclusion of hypotheses here. So there are 4 hypotheses. So H1, is there a significantly positive relationship between ESG disclosure and firm performance? Not accepted. H2 hypothesis, there is a significant relationship between ESG controversy and firm performance. However, due to ESG controversy having high correlation, we are not testing on this particular hypothesis. There is a partial significance of Borg characteristic moderates the relationship between ESG disclosure and firm performance, partially accepted. However, out of 6 components, 2 has been can play as a moderating factor. Borg characteristic significantly moderates the relationship between ESG disclosure and firm performance, not tested due to ESG controversy being being considered as high correlation, high multicollinear. All right, coming to the last part of this research title, i.e. the limitation of research and the recommendations for the future researchers. So however, the limiter of the research is that one of the major limitations I do believe is the time constraint. However, if we have been given an ample of time, I do believe that we will be looking at other Asian countries as well in order to provide a more comprehensive analysis on whether Borg characteristic can fully be relied on as a moderating factor for other variables, not just ESG disclosure and ESG controversy, but for other independent variables. All right. And the second part is refinitive econ had revealed a certain error and inconsistency. However, during the collection of data in the refinitive icon, I've noticed that many companies did not reveal their informations. Many ROA, ESG scores, you can name it, etc. Okay, which shows that there is missing information there. So hence we had to remove it. We have to omit it. Okay, due to the inadequate missing information in regards to ESG score and ESG controversy score and annual reports. Even Borg characteristics, when we're looking at the Borg characteristics collections, most companies did not even allow accessibility or was not made available of their annual reports. So hence we find it difficult and we had to remove several companies from it. Okay, some of the public listed companies' annual report can be found and can be accessible as well. Some only, there are not many can be accessible, which we found difficulties in it. Okay, so however, the recommendations for future research, one of the recommendations is the usage of social media. I think social media right now, as you all know, this modern technological advancement, social media has become one of the powerful weapon being used not just by society, for also political businesses and also universities, higher learning educational institutions, for the purpose of collaboration, advertisements and etc. And also another recommendations for for corporations, is to adopt transparency. Okay, I'm also telling this for startup companies, and also for public listed companies, and also for SMEs as well, because adopting transparency by adhering to the MCCG. Okay, because if not, improper adherence may occur, and this could discourage firms in allowing them to avoid from disclosing in revealing their ESG plans or efforts. Okay, now my advice to future researchers out there, however, is that when they are looking at this particular related research title, my suggestion to them is to look at Asian countries as well, not just Malaysia, but also other Asian countries as well, to provide a more comprehensive, detailed analysis. And also a more prospective study could be emphasis like board age, board expertise. Maybe in future, researchers could maybe add on these two components under board characteristic, and we can see an extensive informations about this, whether board characteristic is very uh, reliable and comprehensive enough or not to be used as a moderating factor in the future. All right. With that being said, that's all my research title. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to invite to
Very,
the panels.
yeah, congratulations. Very good presentation on ESG, how it relates with all your finding and hypotheses. But I just want to set the context setting right here. ESG is no more voluntarily basis. ESG now globally has become a mandatory. I just want to share my personal journey. One of my listing company is going to be listed in NASDAQ. So the first fundamental question by the United States Security Exchange Commission, they asked, Dr. Mazlan, please showcase us evidence that your company has implemented ESG principles. So it really shocked me. So this is where I want to inform everybody here, ESG is not a minor or voluntary things. It must be mandatory. Now that we talk about globally standard, now even in Malaysia is also our now Bank Negara for financial institution, they must comply with ESG framework. Otherwise, there are many costs for doing business for the corporation. That's why today Bank Negara introduced what we call green financing, so-called green. Even the government introduced many initiatives right from the ministries, GLC, so on and so forth. In fact, we have so many grant provided for those companies that want to incorporate ESG initiative into their organization. Bursa, as it, you, you, as security commissions, uh, in fact, our MAICSA also introduced our corporate governance, which is cover ESG framework in it. So it is mandatory, no more choice for us. So what I can say here, almost every month, whether conference, workshop organized by the government at federal level or at the state level. Like last week, government of Sarawak also organized ESG conference, because if you look at Sarawak, the government of Sarawak now really into full swing to make sure that the whole ecosystem in Sarawak are ESG compliant. For example, they started introduce hydrogen to replace the fossil fuel. They have their own alternative for energy. So talking about hydrogen, if you look at the transportation system in Sarawak, from the train, the car, all engined by hydrogen, which is ESG framework friendly. So there they started their carbon credit, they started the algae, the green algae, blue algae, basically to support ESG framework. So this is where I can see some correlation, but there are some hypotheses that you shared just now. I think we need to discuss further. We need to have more concrete as why you believe, for example, you are talking about a crisis, ESG crisis, ESG issue, ESG controversy. Yes, it is controversy, but for example, I give you a very simple analogy. All right. Now, our pen is good for writing, is good to nation building, but the same pen, if we use wrongly to create, hatred, to create disharmony, then the very same pen defeat the purpose of creating the pen. Similarly, ESG, the entire purpose is to help sustain the whole planet, the people, the environment. But if it is used for the wrong purpose or fall into wrong hand, certainly it will not result a good for the entire society, for the entire country, and eventually for the entire world. So I would like once again, congratulations. ESG is the topic for the future. And now that government, we have our own ESG dashboard, SDG dashboard, all the 17 pillars. So it's no more minor thing, but it is very serious thing and must be taken seriously by all the board members. In fact, all company now for public listed, for government GLC, they must have their own ESG framework crafted on the stone on the wall so that they will keep abreast, they will practice whatever that policy they have crafted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mazlan, for the wonderful insight, especially when you mentioned ESG right now is mandatory. Let's hope in future all companies, adhere to this policy lah. ESG must be a mandatory. All right, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi. Thanks, Dato' Maslan. I think that's very, very good insight sharing. Arun, I have to say the two specific area that you actually picked to do a research is very interesting to me because there is a lot of debate actually in the market in terms of the ESG disclosure, right? Does it really benefit the company or otherwise, right? So yes, the regulator has made it mandatory in many countries. So let's say just in the region, for example, right? Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia. However, they are also very mindful of the fact how readiness are they in disclosing and the data, how reliable is the data when they disclose. So because of that, they, in certain country, they allow it to be done in stages because especially SME is not easy. So as Dato' Maslan pointed out, there's a lot of costs involved. You want to measure, you need to buy certain equipment and all that, right? So because of that, it is mandatory, right? The journey is there, but how fast can you get prepared to make all this disclosure? But the two areas that you pick, which interests me really in terms of if I disclose, how does it reflect in terms of the company performance, right? So it's interesting that I'm not sure, is it the area picked in terms of the research or like you mentioned, not because due to the short time allowed, you're not able to do a more thorough study. It's just that my personal opinion, because we sit in a lot of public listed entity, right? If a company has the data, right, then you can clearly see that they have mitigating action put in place, right? And this is where for the directors to discharge their fiduciary duty, they need to know the data. So in the past, they rely on the management to do whatever is required. And that is when you have seen a lot of company gone into trouble because of that. So for example, Top Glove, plantation companies, all this, right? Where they subsequently found they, in terms of labor treatment, in terms of using child for labor and things like that. So that is the reason why you need to have the data. All right. But how does the data actually improve the company? And this is where the challenge is as well, because going forward with all this disclosure. So you have mentioned about the research statistic that you've done. So I'm not sure whether, probably it will be good if PBS can approach SC on this, right? To really, really do a more thorough study in the sense because when the public listed company is mandated to disclose, and they have a whole source of supply chain, meaning to say all the way down to their contractors, subcontractors, right? To get the data for them to disclose at the public listed company end level. So what does it mean? Because your second research, it talks about the controversial and how does that relate to the company performance. So now, if you are not ready, if your data is not ready, does it mean that you are not ready in terms of sustainability? And if you're not ready, as Datuk Basra has highlighted nowadays, right, the global market will be quite difficult for you to go and compete, right? And we have seen this in many of our cases, clients where they want to tender, and if you're not able to give the data, you're not even able to participate in the tender. So that is the future going forward. It will be very, very challenging without the data, right? In order to even tender. And that is what it means in terms of the impact to the company performance, because you cannot participate, right? That means you're not competitive enough. So it's not just global, but even locally as well, right? So I just find that the research topic that you have chosen is very, very appropriate. It's just how much detail should go into it, right? To make it more meaningful. And then the regulators from whether it's BOSA or SC, right, can actually use that statistic to make certain decisions. Because it's just that when we talk to the SME, I can say that, a lot of the SME are not ready, and grant-wise, there are some grants, but some were not able to enjoy those grants. So that's why there's a delay in terms of adopting this ESG disclosure at the SME level. Public listed company, they have no choice, but it's just that because of the stages of requirement to disclose, climate-based, right? So let's say you have scope 1, which is direct control, they can disclose. Scope 2, which is indirect control, will take time because it goes all to the way to the supply chain, right? So, but very good effort, Arun. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ms. Samantha and Dr. Mazlan, on the wonderful insight. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Arun. And now we move to the third presenter, Ms. Sazlin Abdul Khalid. She's from Klang, and she's currently the manager for the corporate governance section of the Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM, under the investigation division. She is responsible for handling cases that involve corporate irregularities and breaches of company law among officers of corporate bodies under the Companies Act 2016. She joined SSM in 2007. She graduated with a Bachelor of Administrative Science from Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Study from UiTM. And recently, she just completed a Master of Business Administration in Corporate Governance at Putra Business School. So I would like to invite Ms. Sazlin Abdul Khalid to present the research finding. Thank you.
Tadi tak balik kanan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Razman. Let me try to share my screen first. Okay. Okay, is it everybody can see my screen? Also can hear my voice?
Yes, we can
Crystal
hear
clear.
you clearly.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum, and very good morning to all. Today, I will share my research paper topic regarding a study on factors influencing the effectiveness of the company secretaries' roles and responsibility in fostering good governance in Malaysia. My supervisor during completing this research is Dr. Tilagawati. I would appreciate also to convey my appreciations to PBS and also MAICSA for having this program today. Basically, this is the presentations outlines for the purpose of these discussions on this research topic. As an introduction, we move to the background of the study. What is the importance? What is the interested me to do the study regarding the company secretaries? As we know, company secretary is a key person in any incorporated entities in Malaysia to ensure good governance conducted. Thus, the roles and responsibilities are vital in fostering good governance in Malaysia. This study aims to examine the relationship toward the effectiveness of company secretary roles and responsibility in Malaysia. Even though there is a very subjective, if we discuss on the context of effectiveness, but in certain measurement we can have the goals to aims for sure for the corporate governance in practice in Malaysia. Beside company secretary, nowadays, company secretary is just not a person that we call as a lodger, a person that responsible to submit a statutory document to SSM. The role and responsibility of company secretary are also component of the Malaysian corporate governance ecosystems and also considered as a part of reporting institutions under the definitions of UMBLA Act. So the very vital roles of company secretary nowadays. And besides lawyer and accountant, company secretary also is under the DNFBP sector. So that's why this topic also interesting for all the regulator, the LEA and so on to discuss further. The following research questions is basically construct based on the problem statements. Previous studies identify several factors that lead to the company's secretary roles and responsibility. From the literature review and from the sources that we identify that some of the factors include studies on external company secretary in Malaysia in relation towards legislations, competency level, evolutions of technology, and also the training. Legislation is basically related to the law framework in Malaysia. Competency levels is refer to the extent degrees of skill, qualification, and knowledge of the applicable to the company secretary. However, the evolutions of technology due to the literature review is basically due to the consequences of the COVID pandemic, when COSEC are now adopting advanced digitalization procedure. And the last one is regarding the training, is refer to the company secretary improvement, their knowledge, to improve their knowledge, their upscaling their skill and their professionalism by pursuing any courses. For company secretary, purposely for company secretary in terms of training, is just not to aim to collect the CPE point, the continuing professional education, for purpose of renewing. So training is more than that. Research objective is the fundamental objective of this study to examine the relationship between legislation, competency level, evolution of technology, and also training. So to answer the research questions, there's some measurements that we take forward by collecting data and so on. We do the final analysis on findings. The scope of study refer to the company secretary in Malaysia as stipulated under the definition under Companies Act 2016 and also defined under the NFBP sector. Basically, what are the significance of this study? In my point of view, the significance of this study are basically useful for several groups of stakeholders in Malaysia. For example, it's useful for researcher, for the practitioners, for the policy maker, for the approved body, for example, MAICSA and also the LEA, to formulate and creation better corporate governance environment which related to company secretaries. Next, we look a little bit on literature review. The most important pillar in the research paper is literature review that until now I still remember during the class Prof. Wam that when it's explained that the importance of LR, when more you read, is better to give you a best insight and clear understanding on your research topic. So today's session, I just share a little bit on literature review, which related to dependent variable and also independent variable. So for the dependent variable, it's referred to the effectiveness of the company secretary roles and responsibilities. So several authors describe, explain, discuss on the effectiveness of the company secretary's roles and responsibility. In this research paper also discuss the literature review related to the independent variables that refer to the legislations as renamed as IV1, competency level, IV2, evolutions of technology, IV3, and also training in considered as an IV4. The literature review is to support the relationship between the dependent variable and also independent variable. For this research, the underpinning theory can best describe agency theories and also the stakeholders theories. These two theories are common for the CG students during the lecture by Dr. Razman in previous class. So in this research, the positions of company secretary itself are more or less suitable to be related above within this both theory. So as a result, the company secretary must act professionally in order to achieve corporate governance principle of accountability, integrity, equality, and responsibility. So this is also reflect according to Section 2 of Company Secretary Act 2016, and officer is defined any director, company secretary itself, their employee, receiver, and so on. Next, we move to the research framework. In this study, the research framework is straightforward. It's referred to 4 independent variable, legislations, competency level, evolutions of technology, and also trainings, which direct related relationship with the dependent variable is referred to the effectiveness of company secretaries, roles, and responsibility. So from the research framework, we construct that hypothesis H1 to H4. For any research paper, the research methodology basically refers to the process on how we as a researcher to collect the data and analyze for getting the findings. This is important for the proper research methodology. If we conduct a proper research methodology, this is important for us. So in this study, the research philosophy is positiveness philosophy, which is suitable using for the large sample. However, thus in the study also, the sample refer to the practicing company secretary that registered under Section 241. Company secretary based on the year of the CCM data and focus on measurement by testing the hypothesis H1 to H4. In terms of the research design in this study, we adopt an explanatory design to attempt the test hypothesis relationship with the 44 questions between legislation, competency level, evolutions of technology, and also training towards the effectiveness, the dependent variable. And also the cross-sectional study applied to company secretaries of various age, level of educations, year of experience as a company secretary, and other elements that fall under cross-sectional study. So in terms of the population and the sampling, population in the study comprise the practicing company secretary according to the database, CCM SSM database in letters in 15 December 2022 due to the time frame of the research. And then the total population for that time is 7,714. But now today is more registered practicing company in SSM data. And for sampling, is a non-probability sampling technique with the 5%, the calculation is 5% from the population. So the recommended sampling size is 366. But however, I'm getting more than 366 response from the company secretary. Okay, next, in terms of instrument and measurement in this study, the questionnaire is very useful to collect the data. We ask the respondent to respond the statements of relevant questions on the 5 Likert point scale, range from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And then in terms of develop the questionnaire questions, the questions are divided into 3 sections. Section A is reflects to the demographic profile of the respondent. Section B in terms of questions related to the independent variable, legislation, competency level, evaluation technology, and also training. Questions under IB1 in legislation is related to measure the knowledge, the awareness of company secretary regarding the amendments of Act, the guidelines, the practice directives, all the policy, either from SSM or other regulatories. For the competency level, the measurements of the questions is more focused on the company secretary qualification, their knowledge, their ability to conduct their job, routine job, and so on. For the evaluations of technology is actually the questions to measure the interest and also the understandings of the company secretary in terms of the emergence of new technology by using a webinar, the online platform, how to do the digital signature for any board meeting, online conference, and so on. And then the last one, in terms of training, we also construct as questions to measure the training gap analysis. Either the training courses that provided by the regulator or other parties are suitable, or is it any changes or any amended can be considered under the training program. And the last part is under section C. The questions are related to the dependent variable, how to measure the effectiveness of the company secretary in focus of the corporate governance. So before, in terms of the data collection procedure, so before I distribute the questionnaires to all the respondents, which is the company secretary, I do the pre and pilot test. The set of questions to ensure the quality of the survey. So the process of pre and pilot testing is the project, and this project to carry out distribute question and survey to the for the benefits of the survey to the subject matter expert, to the SME. There is only 10 survey, 10 pilot tests. We distribute to the company secretary, to the SSM officer, which is under the intermediary corporate sections, and also to the academicians to come out with the comments and to ensure that the quality of the questions, even though we focus on the very simple, precise and accurate information. So now we come to the crucial part that refer to the analysis and findings. Okay, before we explain, we discuss the relationship findings. So it is very interesting to know who responds to your questionnaire. So in section A, demographic of respondent analysis indicate that 58.6% are female co-sex. I'm not sure either this sector are basically suitable for women, maybe in conjunction with the respondent that the majority answered The question are the female co-sex. And then the largest group of the respondent come from the age range between 31 until 40 years old, which is the co-sex will have a middle career experience. And the majority of respondents have achieved their bachelor degrees. So they have their own qualification at that level. Besides, most of the respondents who took in this study are licensed secretary that represent 51%. And the majority of respondents have experience in company secretary service is in the range of 11 to 15 years experience as a company secretary. And the majority of respondents with registered office located in Selangor. However, the respondent also is come from Borneo, from Sabah and Sarawak. Even though its numbers are quite low, but the response accumulate under this analysis and findings. Majority, in terms of demography also, the analysis, majority of respondents from the small company secretary, which is the numbers of the company secretary in that firm normally consists of 2 to 5 members in the firm. And then most respondents have less than 100 companies providing secretarial services, and majority, 65% of respondents have less than 50 company active. So from their targeted, from their list of clients, that 50 companies are active in operations. Okay, this is also the interesting on the demography of the respondent. Besides that, from the demography, the majority, 50% of respondents basically manage client incorporated private companies limited by shares. So from this analysis, we have a concurrence from their groups comes, which is within the small medium company. So many of the respondents handle the clients are from private companies limited by shares. Most of the clients are local person, either the director or shareholder are the local person. With low numbers from the high-risk country, even though in their records they have clients from the high-risk country due to the high due diligence on that issue. So the respondent able to identify that they have the clients from the high-risk country, and also the political exposed persons is around 6.8%. So the political figure, be a director or shareholder, also is handled by the respondent. So this is analysis show that our respondent conduct a process of due diligence to uphold the good corporate governance. For descriptive statistic, the mean and standard deviations of the study. So now this come to the technical of the research. The mean score range from 2.25 for the evaluations of the technology to the high of 4.23 in related to the competency level. So for the legislations, the IV1 received the mean response of 3.9500, while training, the IV4 indicates the mean response of 3.78. This is the analysis for the descriptive statistics. Reliability, in this case, I will use the reliability test, reliability analysis of study tested by using Cronbach Alpha. The reliability analysis of actual study among the independent variable, the competency level exhibit, it shows the highest overall reliability with the coefficient of 0.841. In this study also tested the correlations analysis of the study variable. This study to examine the relationship between 4 independent variables. In this study, I will use Pearson correlations is suitable for normal data distributions. The test of significance used in this study, which is two-tail. A two-tail test is the most suitable due to the no significant direction, either positive or negative relationship indicates in this study. So the regression, the multiple regression analysis, examine the correlations to determine if the variable, the independent variable, legislation, competency level, the evolutions and training have a strong positive or negative relationship, while also testing the hypothesis that outlined for the study. So for the coefficients, the R square is 0.474. And for the ANOVA also, we can see the mean is 9.009, and also the residual mean square is 0.109. Okay, the most leading predictor for the effectiveness of the company secretary roles and responsibility towards the effectiveness is competency level, the IV2, the competency level, which the beta 0.401 with a significant value of 7.143 as per t-test analysis, and followed by legislations with beta result is 0.1227, while the significant is 2.36 based on the t-test values. Okay, from the analysis, the conclusions, hypothesis 1, 2, 3, it's considered can be accepted due to the significant relationships by the p-value is significant is less than 0.05. But when we look at the H4, the hypothesis 4 is not accepted, it's rejected because the significant value, the p-value is not less than 0.05. So the hypothesis is not significant relationships. So after we have the analysis and findings, and then we come to the conclusion and recommendation for this research topic. And then the limitations in any studies, the limitation by purposely in for this project paper, the company is referred to the questionnaire. When we distribute the questionnaire to the respondent, which the company secretary maybe have their self-perceptions that influenced by their experience and knowledge practice in their day-to-day duties. And also the limitation regarding the small numbers of independent factors while omitting other significant independence variable that might influence the effectiveness. So maybe in the next research, we can add up more than the IV, and also maybe changing some parts of the IV maybe are not suitable to be tested. And then the data collection procedure itself is difficult to ensure all the respondents respond to the survey. So during the survey that I'm I'm trying to use the very effective way by doing a Google link because for it's easy, just click and then the answers the questions. However, in terms of time efficient, is very good, and the cost effectiveness, this method is practically and easy to conduct. So for this study, the contribution of this study is basically more valuable insight to relevant authorities in the corporate governance scope, which will be beneficial in enhance their codes and ethics for the company secretary. And also the authority, especially SSM, may come out with the relevant guidelines to ensure an increase in compliance to enlarge the corporate governance standards. And this study finding address the lawmaker and regulator directly or indirectly the underlying the needs for their full consideration to the best practice by the company secretary as a corporate governance advisor. It's not just a person who's responsible to lodge document to SSM. It's more than that. So we come across to the recommendations. There's several recommendations, but for this purpose of this session, it's highlighted 4 recommendations. In terms of the legislations, is a significant factor to determine the effectiveness of role and responsibility of company secretary. That is very important due to the latest amendment of Companies Act 2016 and the relevant power under the registrar to govern corporate practice for the company secretary in Malaysia. And second one, the collaborations. The collaboration is essential, particularly from the government, the regulator, and also the industry participant itself to guarantee the success of the company secretary roles and responsibility. And then the third, SSM must ensure all the practice directive, all the practice note and guidelines are up to date to ensure the company secretary follow the standard of requirements to uphold the better corporate governance practice in Malaysia. This can be accomplished by the more stringent compliance and ongoing oversight of the company secretary roles and responsibility as a reporting institutions under UMLA Act. And last but not least, regarding the recommendations is the collaborative and the involved to preserve good governance practice with others such as professional body, academician, and others corporate industry stakeholders. So suggestion for the future research that we need to extensive research should be undertaken by extending the sampling size to involve more respondents for more in-depth analysis. And then according to the finding of this study, the independent variable of training has no significance on the effectiveness. As a result, further study may be examined the regulator perspective by investigating key variable to ensure the efficacy of training module related to the company secretary, as it the educacies of the training module is sufficient or not. And then the third suggestion for the future research is a more concentrated approach to the research may be taken by examining the regulator points. So besides we have a respondent in point of view company secretary, we can also accumulate, we also aggregate the point of view from the regulator, for example, from SSM, Bank Negara, and also from SC on their perspective regarding the roles of company secretary in terms of corporate governance. And the last suggestions for the future research is this research could be expanded by conducting a comparison study. Either we focus in Malaysia, maybe it can be in regional research we can look a broader and cooperative perspective on determining the company secretary outside Malaysia. Okay, as a conclusions, level of effectiveness of company secretary in their roles and responsibility are also depends on the involvement and experience of the company secretary. So in these professions, because the company secretary may have their high risk clients, so according to the demography, as we see that 31.3% of respondents deal with the foreign client. So 3.5% of respondents are from the high-risk jurisdictions, and also 6.8% are respondents from the PEP, political exposed person. Therefore, the company secretary must have extensive knowledge. They must know the regulation related law and the sole procedures. The second conclusion is in terms of monitoring, the continuous monitoring assessment of current standard, formation a new initiative and fostering the best practice implementation rules and responsibility. So in a nutshell, the roles of company secretaries in Malaysia are more is quite crucial and vital, and is considered at advanced due to this the administrations that just handling a document is more than that. Okay, thank you. I end my sharing session now. Maybe come back to Dr. Razman or the panel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Panel, please.
Okay. Congratulations, Azlin. Can you hear? Because I'm at the cafe hotel. A bit noise, right?
Okay,
I
Dato'.
think
Dato', clear,
the
clear, Dato'.
noise is manageable, very clear. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to say congratulations. I was formerly head of Special Investigation Unit, like today Bank Negara FIED. So very close friend of your boss, Azno.
Oh,
So
okay. That
I
one
want
has already
to
now.
emphasize, what I want to emphasize here, last year I was invited during SSM National Conference. So there are a few speakers among myself, representing MAICSA, Ilya, representing Bank Negara Malaysia, talking about the compliance and AMLA. So this were the finding from Bank Negara. Company secretary not even submit 0.01% of STR report. It shows that either we did not know the requirement or we choose not to report to Bank Negara, because AMLA is very critical nowadays. Yes, it's very, very critical. Now, what is our role as company secretary? I explained very clearly, company secretary acting not as a minute taker, but as corporate governance checker, as a gatekeeper. So the role for us as company secretary is very vital. So therefore, as a corporate governance, we are not taking care of business governance, we are taking care of corporate governance. So as gatekeeper, corporate governance means all the conformance with rules and regulation and international best practices. And what is business governance? Business governance means everything about performance, dollar and cent. Therefore, a corporation, if the corporate governance perfect, but business governance fail, then they are waiting for total failure of the company. So therefore, as a gatekeeper, company secretary must do a check and balance, strike a balance between corporate governance and business governance. Enough to say this. But what I can see, yes, we need not only the training part. Training means from theoretical classrooms type of training, but more important is on-the-job training. On-the-job training, my own experience, I bring all the regulator, I bring all the industry, learn what we mean by a real company secretary role. Yeah. So as a company, please sit here. That's okay. That's okay. We can meet here. So I'm so sorry, disruptions. I'm meeting my close friend from Indonesia. So I have 3 functions today simultaneously, but I'll do my best. So continue. As a company secretary, apart from as gatekeeper, we need to make sure that all our staff, they are all competent. So the first competent, because you are currently with SSM, this is very important as a regulator. When we talk about regulator, we have certain power with us. So the first power is we can conduct investigation. What more, today we are not talking about the normal ordinary investigation. We are talking about AMLA. The burden to prove under AMLA is only balance of balance of probability. Only suspect. We have reason to suspect, we can invoke our power. Other criminal, reason to believe. So this is where I must caution regulators sometimes. This is not good for me to share this. Sometimes we do things out of shock sendiri. I told this to my staff in Bank Negara, my colleague in SPM, ESC. Watch out, make sure we do with full bona fide. Otherwise, we can be challenged in court for mala fide. So mala fide in this case, I'm sure we receive a lot of complaint challenges in court about our investigation exercise. The first thing now, the whole world are talking about AMLA. AMLA has been seen to be very draconian. Samantha, you totally agree with me? I think most of you agree. it seems that AMLA is very draconian. Can you imagine one case? They have been in the industry for the past 40 over years. Suddenly, authority comes in, freeze the account. Not freeze the account for the past 3 years, for example, but freeze the account for the existing from the since inception of the company. So when a company frozen the account, caveat the asset, and the workers, 1,000 workers, can they exercise their good life? They cannot celebrate Chinese New Year. They cannot celebrate Eid Fitri because of company cannot pay a single cent. Therefore, there are some companies they have never ever before borrow from Along. Now they have to resort to borrow from Along in order to make sure the staff can have a good Hari Raya. So what I want to say here, yes, we have the power, and make sure we exercise. That's where I want to emphasize competency. Samantha, competency is not only about regulatory, about rules, about law, about understanding the whole entire ecosystem, how the industry behave. So otherwise, we regulator, we as a gatekeeper can be blamed for killing the whole ecosystem. My words can be very, very big, sound very, very big, but I'm very sincere from my heart. We must work as a smart partner, regulator, industry, MAICSA, company secretary, and all the ecosystem component. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato' Mazlan, for insightful comments. That the keyword is the harmonious regarding the regulator, the industry, and also we need to understand in this sector in deep. It's actually. Thank you, Dato', for your comments.
Okay, thank you, Dato'. Yeah, I think you mentioned the AML because right now all company secretary are rushing to submit the UBO by 30th June. So we all understand why it needed to be done. Yeah. All right. So Sazlin, it's just that it's really, really very interesting for me that you have broken down in terms of the 4 area that impacts the effectiveness of a company secretary, right? 1, you talk about regulation, 2nd, competency, 3rd, technology, and 4th, training. So it's just that because I oversee Singapore and Hong Kong companies as well under boardroom, right? So I find it really interesting, the result that came out of it, because I think maybe if I can ask you, right, the why is it that training is rated as not, why was it rejected? Is it a perception or is from your study that there's no correlation?
Okay, for the training result, for we do the analysis is come from the data is from the actual surveys. So the point of view from the respondent, the company secretary perceive that training is not the important part to ensure the effectiveness. Even you go on so much training is not can determine either you can be effective in terms of your roles and responsibility as a COSEC. To translate the results of the analysis.
Okay, so I think that is interesting, right? It's their perception. It's just that probably I'm not sure because I don't see your question, right? Maybe I'm not sure if because you talk about maybe improving in terms of the survey in future. Perhaps you can look at is on the job training and other source of training. So to counter that misperception, because to me as a company secretary, majority of the time the training come from on the job. All right, because they handle a portfolio or a group of companies under them. So that's why they are probably looking at, oh, it's external training, but it's actually on the job training. And then to add on, the external training will be able to give the value add, right? Why I say this, for example, I give you an example in Hong Kong, there is actually under their company secretary association, they actually they actually encourage their company secretary to go for ESG certification. Right? And in Singapore, All right. In Singapore, they make all corporate secretarial firm, they must pass the AML exam, right? So that's why it's curious to me to hear that, you know, their perception is not required, but on the job training itself is not sufficient. All right. No doubt it helps a lot, but it is only limited to the portfolio you handle, right? So when you handle more and more challenging portfolio, like public listed company, right? So where corporate governance play a even bigger role, right? Private company, I'm not saying it doesn't. That's why MAICSA have came up with a guide on corporate governance for private limited company. Again, when we did a survey under MAICSA also, we were surprised that a lot of the perception of the private company, corporate governance is not so relevant to them. But they, without realizing, it's actually in their day-to-day jobs and function, right? The other one, you talk about your sample of research, because I'm not sure we were not invited. So probably you may want to invite the Big Four, for example, right, to get the more because of our client more multinational, in terms of corporate governance level, probably a better, bigger role. And then comparing to other countries, also this research study, right, I think would be very good, very helpful. But it's just that it's very interesting to me when I go to Singapore, for example, the corporate governance in Singapore is comply or explain, right? So there's no two way about it. Versus in Malaysia, we have actually shifted from comply and explain to apply and explain, right? But it's just that I am surprised because I find actually in Malaysia, company secretary and corporate governance professional are much more higher standard than in the other countries, mainly because of the regulatory requirements, right? So yeah, you're right. In terms of the regulatory support, in terms of collaborating with all the other association, whether it's MAICSA, right? In terms of pushing the corporate governance because of all this, some of this misperception. And then perhaps look at the international best practices as well for the corporate governance point of view. So even though, you know, we say in Malaysia, for example, it's 9-year tenure, in some countries, the tenure is 5 years. So I think just now one of the panel one of the participants showed that average tenure of directors was 6 point something. So it's interesting because in Malaysia, we have say under listing requirement is 9 years, right? Corporate governance 9 years. But in some country, tenure is actually maximum up to 5 years. So they actually want a more robust in terms of the directors playing their fiduciary duties. Yeah. But Sazlin is very, very interesting. And I really hope you can take this on, right? And expand the search with MAICSA and all the other bodies, PROSA and SC, and then coming up with in terms of action plan to how to change this, moving more towards emphasis on corporate governance rather than corporate secretarial. But on the overall, Sazlin, I think it's really, really great research and presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Samantha. I took your very good point regarding the training by include the on-job training and also for the aggregate the results respondent by include the Big Four in the next research. So the most important, even though we do a research, the action plans, we need to focus on the action plans, how to ensure the company secretary as not as a larger purposes, but it's more on the corporate administrators. Okay, thank you, Ms. Samantha.
Yeah, thank you, Sazlin.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Sazlin. All right, now last but not least, we have the final presenter, Mr. Izal Rizam Abdul Rashid. A little bit about himself. He's from Perak, and he has a degree in accounting from University Utara Malaysia. Now he has an MBA in CG from Putra Business School. He is a chartered accountant under MIA, and his current career is he's an auditor for the federal government. So before working in government, He spent 6 years of experience in accounting services in private sector, from account officer to assistant account manager. And in government, he has served 16 years as internal auditor in various ministry, such as Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Human Resource. And at the moment, he is a principal assistant secretary, internal auditor at the Ministry of Defense under the Internal Audit Division. So I would like to invite Mr. Izal Rizam to present his case study. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Razman. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to our panelists, Prof. Razman and the presenter and also our my fellow friends. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see. And if you can switch to the shirt. All right. Okay.
All right. Actually, my case study is not as vast as the others. It's a simple case studies. It's about a small company but expanding at the right time and also at the right with the right business models. However, due to lack of governance, an event has occurred to the company that crucial to the company to rectify the occurrence, the problems to ensure their sustainabilities. I'm for sure that everyone has heard and also an advertisement saying that laptop Rahmah, a laptop harga 1,000 ke bawah. So this a case study in IMICA's Empire Sdn Bhd. First and foremost, I'm very fortunate that the managing director himself has given opportunity for me to do this case study on his company and has shared some experience on development of his company. And also I've also fortunate that being given full cooperation from two of his senior officers during my case studies. So the content of my presentation is about the company backgrounds, so the event, issues, and also problem statement, approaches, identified solution, and recommendation and conclusions. So a little background, little company backgrounds. This company, starting IMICA Resources as a sole proprietorship in 2010, and also is only one shop operated by the owner himself, Mr. Abdul Rahim Tahir, assisted with few shops assistant and technicians. However, in 2015, only in 2015, he appointed an operation assistant who doing the admin, finance, accounts, and HR tasks. So the focus of this company is selling a refurbished desktop, selling and services of refurbished laptop, smartphone, and desktop. The company operation is conventional, where the customer purchase a product or acquire services physically at the shops, and all the transaction and records are manually, and also payment via cash and credit cards only. So in 18 December 2017, the company, IMICA Resources, has been incorporated as known as IMICA Empire Sdn Bhd with a private limited by share, wholly owned by the owner, currently a Datuk Abdul Rahim Tahir. So the mission of the company is to attain a network of 100 branches, created more than 500 employees throughout opportunities throughout Malaysia, to ensure the vision is to ensure the technology is both affordable and accessible throughout Malaysia. With the expansion, they also hoping that they suggested the workforce will be expanded organization structure. However, the operational and also the focus of the company, sales and services of the company is still the same, where they also sold and service the refurbished desktop, the electrical, and however the supplier currently local registered revolution and registered distributor in the Asian region. So these are the operational function structure when it's been expanded, where there's a two functional structure. One is the operational and also one is the region control of the services. where the shared service is headed by the operation manager, and the regional branch of management is controlled by regional control manager. And on the right side, my right side, is the organization structure. The operation manager, under the shared service, there's a 5 departments where each departments lead by a manager. There's a warehouse, finance, admin, HR, and marketing. Where the regional manager, there's a regional control manager, there's a regional manager below, and also the branch managers. So in warehouse department, the shared service in warehouse department is in charge of inventory related matter, and also the procurement, receiving, inspecting, repair, repacking, also distributing the branches of the refurbished products lah. There's a human resource, finance, admins, and marketing department. This is all the function that is being clearly spent lah. So in regional and branch management, there's a 5 under the regional controller manager. There's a 5 region, northern region, Klang Valley, southern, eastern, and Borneo, where there's a few negris is below is each region manager, where whoever branch manager located in the each negeri will be reported to the each region manager itself. So the main purpose of the region manager is to assist branch manager located in the state or federal territory under the responsibility in all matters, especially related to supply the products, and also spare part, also customer service. So these are normal branch management. The branch manager, assistant manager are fully responsible for the overall branch operation. And however, the assistant branch manager has to cover the responsibility of any employee on break or absence. The sales executive are doing the marketing and sales activities, where the technician are doing the service of repair, and also the oversee of inventory in the branches. So in 2017, there's only one outlet. Once they have incorporated, they managed in 2018, they managed to open 4 more outlets in Peninsular Malaysia. And as you can see, in 2009, they are quite vast expansion. They have opened another 24 outlets within one year. So however, even though they have 29 outlets, the operationals, the mechanism of operations are still the same, where the customer, if want to buy products or services, they have to came to the shops itself, and also the reporting, and also the transaction, all do it manually, and also their transaction are only use cash or credit cards. So the event, issues, and problem. So as we are know, in 18 March 2020, early February 2020, the whole worldwide being hit by coronavirus COVID-19. And also in Malaysia, starting 18 March 2020, we are being MCO movement being locked down, and MCO has been enforced. So all to ensure the ongoing process, the job are going to work from home, and also the students are studies having a school at homes lah. So this MCO from 18 March up to 3rd May of 2020, then the government imposing the CMCO until 9 June, and RMCO starting 10 June 2020. However, on the bright side, the data from DOSM, we can see the tremendous increasing of the using of the internet and computers, either the household, individuals in the urban area, rural area, and also in the states of Perak, Selangor Federal Territory. Why I choose Perak, Selangor and Federal Territory is because the 29 outlets of IMICA is stated in the state of Perak, Selangor and Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur. That's why I choose these three need to show that even though we are hitting by the COVID-19, but the percentage of usage of internet and computer are increasing tremendously up when the COVID has been hit. This data came from the OSM. You can serve it in. So there's a changes. However, when the COVID strike, the routine of the IMICA empire has been changed. As you can see from day-to-day operation, this require customer to visit the outlet. It has been changed to they are selling the products online and online shopping platform, and also accepting purchasing orders through the WhatsApp application. And the operation hours from 10 to 10, 365 days, to 10 to 6 p.m. only, subject, and also the days is subject to approval by the government. And the operating manpower from full force, now they are on the during the CMCO RMCO is only 50%. Not only 50%, the employee have to alternate and also on rotating basis. That's mean that one employee could not come to work on the consecutive days. And the transaction, however, the transaction still manually done, even though before or during the CMCO RMCO. And payment collection has been changed from cash and credit card to online transfer. The inventory, before this, they are purchased the small quantity either from local registered distributors or from the Asian region. However, during the CMCO, since the surge of demand of the affordable laptops, they are uphold ties not only with the existing company supplier, they also engaging from the developed countries such as the US and UK. And to ensure they have saving some shipping expenses, they are purchased in a substantial quantity in one time of purchase. So why I choose during CMCO or MCO is because the event is happened during CMCO where the company are operating with a limited with a control in a control manner by the governments. So that's what the event has happened. And the most effect of the changes, there's a two effect. One is the procurement of the one is about the procurement of the knee, where there are substantial they procure substantial quantities of the inventories to minimize shipping expenses. Then the effect, as if you want to know, for your information, for everyone information, in the warehouse, even though they has a warehouse department, they don't get all the inventories at the warehouse. Every supplies that they receive, they will immediately inspect, verify, and also repack the inventory and expedite inventory reduction. They have to circulate all the distribute all the inventory received, have checked, receive and check to all the branches, so they don't keep any inventories in the warehouse. So the consequence, some of the several of the original signed acknowledgement receipt copies of GRN and invoices are misplaced, and also the consequent, the finance departments unable to record, account for, and make payments. The finance department only aware on the receiving of product when they receive the credit statement from the supplier that demanding the immediate payments. The second most problem changes that they are affected are the alternate working in the office to adhere to the social distancing policy, where the effect the hindered seamlessly continuous of business operation from one day to another. The error persistent influenced by the numerous urgent factors and restricted business hours. So the consequence, there are certain financial transactions either not recorded or recorded incorrectly or recorded solely based on WhatsApp messages without adequate supporting document. Just for your everyone info, even though IMICA have 29 outlets, their communication only using WhatsApp. There's no fax machine. Telephone also using the own handphone. There are no office telephones. So and the transaction, the documentation sending all are through WhatsApp applications. And the most shocking they are in the WhatsApp, they only use one group's WhatsApp for all 29 branches and also the headquarters. Only one group WhatsApp because they want to limited the group WhatsApp in the employees and also the management handphone. So the other consequence, some of the staff at the branches are forgot to download the proof of order requisition and payment received via WhatsApp and forward to the finance department for record purposes. The other symptoms in 2020, the other symptoms happen in 2020 once they are realized on documenting, recording, and reporting, solely realizing on manually done and also utilizing only MS Office. Then from the day they have incorporated until 2020, they have yet to identify a computerized system to conducting procurement processes, managing inventory at the head office and also all branches, overall human resource management, and the most important, the accounting, the bookkeeping and reporting, and also the finance for budgeting, receivables, and payables recording. The others, some of the are sole responsibility for inventory procurement process management only. Okay, for this the third factor, the third symptoms is because since the business process is quite what we say confidential, so every process of procurement of the electronic products start from getting the quotation until signing the contract is only done by the operation manager by himself. The warehouse manager only receive a copy of contract, signed contract, only the part that how much the quantity will receive, what type of the products will be received, but the other officers in the warehouse manager, warehouse department and other department do not have any idea where the products and what company are the product, except the finance lah, what company the products came from and where it came from. So because they are very confidential, because they're scared that the information will leak to other competitors or other company that's competitors. So the fourth symptom in 2020 is as I said before, all the communication and documentation submission by all 29 branches only utilizing one group WhatsApp applications. Like for example, for finance department, all financial transaction, proof of payments, receipt and bank transaction. For marketing department, the sales report. For warehouse department, inventory report daily and monthly. Every single documentation being transmitted using the one group of WhatsApp. So you can imagine how much the quantity of reports are going through the one single group WhatsApp daily and monthly basis. So the other symptoms in 2020, as you can see, in 2020, Human Resource Department, Finance Department, and admin departments are being operated by solely Madam Rahizan, where she is a former IMICA Resource Operation Manager, which means that in 2020 she's doing the HR work, finance work, accounting works, and also administration works. So due to these symptoms and the effect of the changes, the first issues they have faced where the reports and financial statement as of 31st December 2020 are erroneous. As you can see on my left side, the initial reports that lodged to CCM on 28th of October 21, the sales is on zero. They have faced a loss of 200,000, and however, the auditor has given them an unqualified opinion. When they have amended the reports and financial statement and they lodged it to CCM in March 2022, they have actual in 2020, they have sale of 1.15 million and they have managed to get a profit of 337,000. However, the auditor, instead of unqualified, they given IMICA a qualified opinion because the auditor are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence where the sales, significant sales of 10% and purchases of around 20%, the supporting documents are unavailable or has not been given to the auditor. The second issues, IMICA has late prepared the report and financial statement for 3 consecutive years. As you can see, 2018 to 2020, they have late 17, 5, and 3 months. So after sitting with the officers, so we can conclude that the poor governance that happened in the 2020 are because of these 4 factors. One is the process flow, where they admit that their practices at IMICA are guided based upon practices and routine of former and existing staff member. And also these practices are communicated verbally from one another, means that they don't have SOP at all. They don't have any, they have a SOP, but a verbal SOP. They don't have any properly done and documented SOP. So this as verbal SOP, they just train or they just being communicated to the new members or new employee through verbal. And also they just follow whatever the previous or existing, the former and existing staff members are doing. They just communicated verbally to the new staff. So the SOPs are being handed over just informally with verbal. So the second factor are the implementation, where there's a step decision by the senior officer. As you are aware, during the COVID-19, most of everyone are working at home from home. So any problem faced, they are just searching for either the MD, managing director, of the most senior officer. So the senior officer just giving them the snap decision. So okay, you do this, you do this, without looking or thinking about the SOPs or consequences. And also, I've mentioned before, the multiple activities done by one person. And equipment, of course, same. They are heavily dependent on WhatsApp application for communication and official document. And resources, insufficient manpower due to working rotation and insufficient material due to strict restriction. However, after RMCO being imposed by the government, factors of resources, because the business has been transformed to as usual, so the factors of resources has no longer an issue. They have 3 issues about process flow, implementation, and equipment. So the approach and identify solution, among my discussion and with the officers, yes, they agreed that they need an internal control for their company because as just think currently in 2020 they only have 29 branches. However, as we can see in the website, currently they are running with 106. Up to date, they are running with 106 branches. So they are really in need of internal control system for the company. So I've suggested that they are leveraging the COSO internal control framework, where as you know, there's a COSO cube and also 17 of principle for the IMICA to implement. However, during the discussion, there's some different viewpoints of how the internal control system can be established in IMICA. One suggestion is they are doing in-house by optimizing fully IMICA internal resources. One second option is outsourcing the implementation of internal audit, and once and for all, let the internal audit company service provider form or establish the internal control for them. Third, they automate every aspect of IMICA business operation from from end to end, all being automated and the documentation being digitalized. And fourth is since the problem occur only in the back or shared service back end of the company, so they are establish the internal control only in-house only for the forwards, mean the branches, the operation side. However, the shared service, all the shared service means accounting, HR, admin, warehouse, they outsource it to either third party or multiple third parties. So there's a multiple viewpoints how to. So we have analyzed, evaluate the each and every approach. Where for the approach one, there's the strength opportunity is personalization and cost effective. However, there's a weakness, limited of expertise, continuous training because of it's in house. There's a limited expertise, continuous training, and these two will be make a delay of the formation of internal control and lack of benchmarking of the good best practices. However, it's a cost effective because it's only minimal expenses because they are only allocated the expenses for training. For the second approach, the strength of we can see there's a fourth strength there that where because the service provider has the expertise and specialization, they can do it in time and resources efficiency. They can ensure the quality and assurance of the internal control, and besides that, they also can enhance the IMICA networking opportunity of the businesses. However, the weaknesses is, of course, when we are talking about outsource, there will also the cost concern and also the confidentiality risk. Because as you know, they are very secrecy, or mean they are really trying to minimize the outsiders to know about their suppliers. The third approach where they automate, you can see the balance between the pro and cons, where when they automate, they can enhance the efficient and productivity of the business. The comprehensive conformance and surely stored document means that when the document digitalized, of course, the document are really stored secured. However, the weakness, there's a substantial initial and recurring expenditure when we talk about automation and digitalize, and complex implementation because the 106 branches is all across Malaysia, inclusive of Sabah and Sarawak, a rural area in Sabah and Sarawak, and also constrained in the formations. Last but not least, in the fourth approach, actually it's the same in the second approach, but however is mixed in the first and second approach. The pro is only the expertise and also enhancing, but and also But the weaknesses is a lot because we can see it's a limited expertise, continuous training, delayed formation, lack bank, unrelenting financial load, confidentiality, risk, and governance and operations. So when I search for a literature to ensure a thorough consideration of all four approaches, the appropriate analytical tool should be utilized to facilitate a well-informed decision. So when I go through the literature, there's only one analytical technique in the literature designed to determine the relative attractiveness of feasible alternative plan. So the QSPM are being used where the key success factors, approaches, and also corresponding weight are assigned. So these are my result of how my judgment and also outcome of the talk with discussion with the officers. So we can see here the most critical for IMICA aspect is total incurred expenses, projected completion period, and safeguarding. Means that they want a low cost, they want it fast, and also they want ensure their confidential information are secured. So as you can, I know everyone has been whoever has been used the QSPM approach, they know how the approach have been doing. So as we can see here, the approach 2 has the highest total attractiveness cost, where means that to ensure that the implementation are according to whatever IMICA are expected to. So the recommendation and conclusions to ensure the effective resolution of poor governance in 2020 and to prevent their reoccurrence in the futures and to enabling the smooth functional of business activities and operations, IMICA needs to establish a comprehensive internal control system for the entire business operation. And with this, analyze, is the best option for IMICA is to outsource the implementation of internal audit to a service provider. At the same time, to ask the internal auditor to the service provider to manage or to establish an internal control system for them with the additional amount of need. So to ensure that their mission and vision are achieved and sustainability. Thank you. I think I've exceeded my time. I'm back to you, Prof.
Thank you, Izal. Okay, I'd like to invite the panel to give their comment.
Okay, thank you, Izal. Good presentation. Just some food for thought before I start my comment. If we're hungry, you automatically go and look for food, right? Similarly, in organization, until and unless we believe governance is our food. So whether we have internal audit control in place, whether we have board charter, ESG framework, blah, 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 we still go and eat because we know we need to eat. Similarly, this is where I want to emphasize, we need to create ESG as part and parcel of our culture. Best practices is our culture. Corporate governance, our culture. Integrity, our culture. So internal audits, basically it's just tool. That's why in Bani Negara now, we mention for industry, self-audit, self-regulation, self-examination, everything self. Instead of external party come and do the healthy check. So the healthy check must be done internally. Internally means everyone play a role to make sure that as organizational goal, everybody are healthy. Both business, governance, internal control, everything are in order. So having said that, yes, internal control for a new starter for IMICA may be crucial But as we go along, we cannot rely only on internal control, because from my personal experience, many companies, many big boys, they fall into internal fraudulence, external fraudulence. You know, all the, I would say, the saga involve financial crisis saga. Actually, they have everything in place. They have the best board, they have the best management team, they have the best risk management framework, they have the best internal audit from the people, the technology, they have everything best. Robot, you know, drones, blockchain, everything. But still, they are no more in the industry. They become history. I just don't want to mention the name. Because why? Because one thing, they have not built this as our culture. So similarly, in MACC, I stopped talking about anti-bribery corruption. I talk about governance. I talk about integrity. Governance integrity should be part and parcel of our culture. Yeah. We should embrace, we should live with this culture. So this is where we need to start, not only from education for our child in the university, and now for the working level. I just want to share with you, several years ago, we conducted survey among the public university. I want to mention the university, 72%. When the question asked, are you going to give bribe and accept bribe when you join the workforce? 72% said yes. Now they are in the market now. So this is very serious finding for us. That's why we have to change our strategy. No more using state enforcement, but at the same time, we need to be balanced using education, moral suasion, trade awareness, so that this is become our culture. Malaysia, the same thing. Prime Minister already launched all kind of initiatives to combat crime. We target by 2030, it will be zero corruption, zero financial crime. Thank you. And anyway, congratulations, Rizal, for the good presentation.
Thank you, Dato'. Your insight I will share to the officers of the IMICLA, to the managing director.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Miss Samantha?
Yep. Hi. Izal, sorry. So, and thanks, Dato', a very, very important insight, right? It's not just about policy and procedure, but the culture behind it. Because if you don't have that values and culture top down, right, then whatever tools you have may or may not work, right? Because more importantly is the values that the group believe in. It's just that it's good. Izal, what you have presented is that because of COVID, that a lot of all these things have been surfaced out, right? Lack of resource planning, lack of succession planning, lack of automation. So subsequently, then you have proposed a lot of other measures or solutions to be put in place. Where it's possible, then you have now automate and digitize. So it's not just leaving it to manual, where it is open to a lot of risks, right? So I think after COVID, yeah, there's a lot of company, including ourselves, who has looked at automation to minimize manual errors or manual intervention where it's possible. So that is one way of a very good risk control. However, just to caution you, there are many companies who have also failed in their automation project. And reason why is because they outsource, right? So the outsource, actually, I don't really like the use of word outsource. It's preferably is co-source. co-sourcing, right? So that the management is also held accountable, right? So the digitization, automation, very good idea. So a lot of companies are doing that now. Second one, you talk about areas that you don't have the resources, then you outsource. So it's an interim measure. So a lot of companies are also doing that because they don't have the skill set and it's not cheap to hire. So what they do is an interim measure, outsourcing or co-sourcing, and then subsequently, when the financial allows them to do it, they bring it back in-house. Because at the end of the day, Datuk Maslan mentioned, right, who knows your business better is the management team themselves, right? So when you outsource, um, only certain part of the risks are mitigated. The other one that maybe also, and in Malaysia, we don't see a lot of company, but it's just that in your industry, especially in the multinational industry, you will see that they use whistleblowing a lot. All right. Why whistleblowing? It gives an opportunity, whether although sometimes, yes, it may be abuse, disgruntled employees and all that, but things get flagged up, right? If everything is painted as nice and well, then nobody dare to speak up. This is where fraud arises from small lies become bigger lies, become bigger, and they play with the books and so forth, right? So do look at that in terms of how to make your policy and procedure effective, right? So very good, have policy, procedure, risk management, right? Gets escalated so that the management or the board can look into what are the issues, not just historical issue, but going forward. So like in terms of what is happening in the market, what is happening in your competition, right? So that is actually very, very important in this more and more, how do you say, VUCA world, right? It's a lot of things that is giving competition to a business post-COVID now versus pre-COVID. All right. Yeah. So resource planning, cost viability, investment, ROI, all these are very important as you have highlighted. Yeah. So it's just a matter of making sure the effectiveness of the structure that you have mentioned there. And of course, tone from the top in terms of the values of the group. So because you will be surprised when we interview a lot of companies, the company's value, most of them have not rewritten their vision and mission statement over 30 years already. All right. So that's why we actually encourages company, please revisit that, right? In terms of what are the values the company hope to achieve. And then by the leaders adopting it, only then it will actually flow down to the ground as well. All right. Thanks, Izal.
Thank you, Ms. Samantha, and have a good. I think a lot of point I can share it and convey to the managing directors of IMICA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Izal. Finally, we have come towards the end of the event. Hopefully, this colloquium has proven to be beneficial for those attending, especially the PBS student as well as MAICSA members. We will upload the session on this session on our PBS website once it is ready. As you can see, the past 5 colloquium YouTube video has been uploaded on our website already. On behalf of PBS, I would like to express our sincere thanks and appreciation to all involved with this event, especially from MAICSA, like Dr. Akbar, the Deputy President, and our two very outstanding MAICSA panelists, Dr. Haji Mazlan Haji Ahmad and Ms. Samantha Tayyip Chan. Your comment, your insight are very valuable, not just to our students, but also to lecturers like me to frequently update what's happening out there. And not to forget our PBS CEO and President, Professor Dr. Azmani. And finally, to all our 4 presenters, you did well with your presentation. And also the audience with all the questions posed in the chat box. You guys all have been amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the next edition of PBS-MAICSA Colloquium, and enjoy the remaining of the weekend. Selamat Hari Raya Aidiladha for those who are celebrating, and I wish you all enjoyable weekend and holiday. Thank you all. Assalamualaikum, and very good goodbye to all of
You
you.
all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.